Hello, boys and girls. My name is Latina Gay, and I teach third grade math at Roy Neal Sheldon Elementary School. Today, I'll be bringing you lesson 5 of Module 1, all right? Let's jump right in. All right, let's look at today's target, all right? Remember, I told you the target is the objective. You never leave out a classroom without knowing what you were supposed to learn. And this sentence right here tells us what I want you to get out of my lesson today, all right? So, today it says, I can understand the meaning of the unknown as the number of groups in division, all right? So, yesterday we did the size of each group, all right? So, what we did was we would take a total divided by the number of groups, and we got the size of the groups. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a total and divide it by the size of the group and get the number of groups. And that will make more sense a little later, all right? Because remember what I told you. Division is just backwards multiplication, all right? Remember, you have a kind of a set formula for multiplication. It's the number of groups times the size of the groups equals the total. But remember, I told you with division, it's backwards. We start with the total, but the number of groups and the size of the groups can flip-flop between the equal sign, all right? So we'll see how that works a little bit later, all right? I would like to start with some fluency. Let's do what we always do. Let's count by twos, all right? We're going to go forward and backwards. So let's start going forward with twos. Use your fingers to track, all right? Let's go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Let's count backwards, all right? 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Very good, boys and girls. Now let's count by threes, all right? We're going to go forward and backward, and we might have to think about these a little bit, so let's make sure that we use our fingers to track, all right? Let's go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Let's count backwards, all right? Use your fingers to track. 30, 27, 24, 21, 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3. Very good, guys. All right, you guys, we're going to divide equal groups. So this is a review of what we did yesterday. So let's look. We know this stuff by now. It's asking us how many groups are there. Remember, the groups are the large circles, all right? So how many groups do we have when we look at this picture? That's correct. We have 2 groups. How many are in each group? What are they asking us here? They're asking for the size of the group. And remember, the size of the group tells us how many there are in each group. So we know we have 2 groups. And now what we want to know is how many are in each group. So how many red circles are in each group? So let's count both of them to make sure they're not different numbers, all right? So let's count the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 in the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 in the second one. So we have 2 equal groups of 5. Now, let's say the total as a repeated addition sentence, all right? So when we do a repeated addition sentence, what we do is we use the size of the group to make a addition sentence. So let's go. We have 5 plus 5 equals 10, all right? Now it's asking us to write a division sentence for 10 divided into 2 equal groups. So let's use our picture to do this, okay? What does the number 10 represent? The number 10 represents the total number of red dots we have in both groups, okay? So remember, I told you in division, we always start with the total. So we have 10 divided by how many groups? We have 2 large groups. So right here we have the total divided by the number of groups equals the size of each group. How many are in each group? That's correct. 5. So we know that 10 divided by 2 equals 5. And if you were to look at it, remember I told you, division is just backwards multiplication because watch this. 5 times 2 equals 10, all right? So you should be able, if you ever want to see if your answer is correct, you can always start at the end and go back to the beginning to see if it makes sense. If it doesn't, you've done something wrong and you need to go back and check your calculations, all right? All right, let's look at this next problem. How many groups are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 groups, all right? Now, it's asking us how many in each group, so they're asking the size of each group, all right? So remember, the size of the group tells us how many there are in each group, all right? So let's look. I have 2 in the first group, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 2 in the fourth, all right? Now we need to make a repeated addition sentence for this picture, all right? And remember, when we do repeated addition, we don't use the number of groups, we use the size of the groups, all right? So our repeated addition sentence will look like this. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Now I know in the first one we only had 2 numbers, but when we say repeated addition, we just mean that we're adding the same number over and over. It doesn't matter how many numbers we have, whether it's 2 or 10. Repeated addition just means you're adding the same number over and over, all right? So here we're adding 2 4 times, all right? So what we can do is we can either come below this and get our totals, or because it's 2s and we've been practicing count by 2s, we can actually count by 2s to get the total. Just like this, all right? 2, 4, 6, 8. So I know 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 8, all right? And what does the number 8 represent here? It represents the total number of red circles, okay? Now what I want to do is I want to make a division sentence for 8 divided into 4 equal groups. Remember, what did I just tell you that 8 represents? The 8 represents the total number of red circles, okay? So what we say is we have the total 8 divided by the number of groups. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 large groups, okay? So we have 8 divided by 4 equals, and you should have said 2, because what we have here is we have the total divided by the number of groups equals the size of the group. Do you remember how I said you could check your answer? Correct. You can start from the end and go back to the beginning and use multiplication to see if it makes sense. Let's see if it does. 2 times 4 equals 8. Is that true? Yes, it is. So we know that our division equation is correct also, all right? Let's look at our application problem. One thing I want you to notice about our application problem is when we do an application problem, it always goes back to the lesson that we did the day before. So what we should be thinking about is, what did we do yesterday? Yesterday we divided totals by the number of groups and got the size of the group. So that's what we should be thinking about even before we use this problem, all right? So let's read and see what scenario we have going on. Stacy has 18 bracelets. After she organizes the bracelets by color, she has 3 equal groups. How many bracelets are in each group? So let's look at what we have here, you guys. We see that we have a total. What is our total? 18. We have 18 bracelets. And what did we do? What did Stacy do? She organized them, and when we organize something, all that means is we put it into groups. She put them in groups by what? The color. And it said when she did that, she ended up with how many equal groups? She ended up with 3 equal groups, all right? So Remember, we always want to use RDW. So the best thing we could do right here is to actually just draw a picture of what they're telling us we have, all right? So I know that I have 3 equal groups. So I'm just going to draw 3 circles, just like we had when we were making our division sentences just a second ago, okay? So I have 3 equal groups. And what did I do? I organized them by color. Now, it doesn't matter what color because that actually has nothing to do with the problem. All we want to know is how many are in each group. So we're really just looking for the size of the group. We have our total, we have the number of groups. We need to know how big each group is. So does anybody remember what we did yesterday to make sure that all groups are equal? Yesterday, I introduced you to the fair share method, which means I'm going to give 1 to each group until I run out. What number am I going to run out at? I'm going to run out at the number 18, okay? Why? Because my total is 18, which means I can't go before 18 and I can't go higher than 18. I have to stop at 18. After I stop at 18, I have to go back and count to make sure that each group is equal because that's very important in multiplication and division. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw 1 circle in each until I get to 18. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Remember, how did I know to stop at 18? Because 18 is my total, okay? So now I'm going to count how many circles I have in my groups because I know one thing about them. They should be what? They should be equal. So if I count them and I don't have the same number in each group, I've done something wrong. I need to erase, get another piece of paper, and I need to start over and see what I did wrong, okay? Maybe I read it wrong. Maybe I counted wrong. Maybe I drew too many circles. Something happened, but I need to go back and redo it, okay? So let's see if I did mine correctly, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all right? Second group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good so far. Let's check the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's great, guys. We have 3 equal groups. When we say equal, that means they're all the same size, all right? So we can actually use this picture to make a division sentence, but we need to know what those factors mean, all right? What did we start off with? Remember, in division, you start off with your total, okay? We had 18 total bracelets, and we divided them by what? We had 3 equal groups. So we have the total divided by the number of groups equals the size of the group. What is the size of the group? It is 6. There are 6 bracelets in each group, all right? And actually, that's our sentence because remember, we have to read, draw, and write. So let's write our sentence, and I'm just going to write it at the top just like I did last time. There are 6 bracelets in each group. Now, just a little fun fact, I wanted to write the number 6, but I was an English major, and the English major in me does not let me write the number 6 in a sentence because any number under 10 you actually have to spell out, okay? So remember that when you're writing your sentence. Any number before 10 you have to spell out. So I actually wrote the number 6, all right? That's just a little fun fact for you. All right, let's go back to our objective, what we were supposed to learn today. Thus far, we've done a review of what we learned yesterday. Now let's jump into what we're supposed to learn today. It's going to be very short and simple, and we'll review it some more tomorrow, all right? But let's jump in now. All right, guys. Today what we want to do is we want to divide by the size of the group to get the number of groups. And it should all fit inside the scenario. So let's look and see what we have here, okay? Next weekend, my friend Cynthia is having a party. 18 people are coming. I told her that I helped set up tables. We know that 6 people can sit at each table, but we're not sure how many tables we'll need. Now, let's discuss, you guys. What information do Cynthia and I already have? Let's look back at our problem. Now, we only want to point out the relevant information, okay? The first thing I want to know when planning a party is how many people are coming. How many people do we know are coming? We know that 18 people are coming. So what would we call 18? What would 18 be for us? 18 would be our total, okay? So we know we have 18 people coming. Let's look at what else we already know. We also know that with those 18 people, only 6 people can sit at one table, okay? So that means I need one table per 6 people, all right? So here I actually have my size of the group. So I have my total and I have a size of the group, and I don't know how many groups I need. And when we're talking about groups, what do the groups represent in this problem? The groups are the tables, okay? Now, let's use a model to represent what we have, okay? So what we did the first time was we did the fair share method. That wouldn't quite work here. What we need to do is we need to draw groups of what? We're going to draw groups of 6 until we get to our total. What is our total, you guys? How many people are coming? 18, okay? I always tell my students that sometimes problems try to trick us because they know when we're looking for our numbers, we're always looking for them to be in numeral form. And that may not always be the case. When you're reading a word problem, you need to make sure that you read it in its entirety, okay? What that means is sometimes numbers can be hidden as words, just like that 18. That 18 can be translated into numeral form, and we know what 18 looks like. So don't let that ever trip you up, because I have a lot of kids that like to use the cubes method. So they just start circling numbers, underlining, questioning, boxing in keywords, and they'll come to me and say, well, Ms. Gayden, I don't see another number. And sometimes it's hidden in a word. So make sure you're paying attention to that, okay? So we're looking for the actual number of groups. We know the size of the group, so we're going to have to actually draw groups of 6 until we get to 18. So let's do it here. So here's one group of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I done? No, because how many people do I have? Have 18 people, you guys. So I know that one table wouldn't be enough. Let's keep going. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Remember, only 6 people can sit at a table. So when I get to 6, I have to get to another table, okay? So let's bring one more table out. And let's go. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay? So now, how many groups do I have? I have 3 groups because I have 18 people. I have 18 people, and I know that 6 people can sit at one table. So let's translate this picture into a division sentence. Not only that, let's make sure that we know what the numbers mean, because those numbers should be represented in that picture somehow, okay? So let's look at what we have. Remember, what do we start with in a division equation? We start with the total. We have 18 people. And of those 18 people, only 6 can sit at one table. So we're dividing the total by the size of the group. Now we know that 18 divided by 6 equals how many? 3. So here what we have is we have The total divided by the size of the group equals the number of groups. We can still check this. If you remember how to count by your threes, we can still see if this answer is correct by reading it from the end and seeing does it make sense as a multiplication sentence, okay? Let's try and see. 3 times 6 equals 18. Is that true, guys? Yes, it is. So we know our answer is correct. We know that we will need 3 tables in order for us to have a party, okay? That's all I have for you today. Tomorrow we will continue to go over dividing by the number of groups and size of the group. See you next time.